Hi, this is Brian Passion. Welcome to today's podcast. Today, I want to talk about content and its role to increase organic traffic and relevance to your website, because most auto dealers have a website that could be best described as a broken carousel of content. What do I mean by that? Think about the average dealership website in the United States, and probably it pertains to other countries as well. When you look at the total number of pages in a default website template, it's probably more like 90% inventory pages and less than 10% static content pages. Have you ever thought about what that does to your indexing in Google SEO? Now, of course, there's a camp that may say that if a dealer has a car and it's in stock and it shows up in search, well, that's great, and that's the whole purpose of organic structures in inventory listings. But think about it. If the car sells on average between 30 and 60 days, this turnstile effect happens where constantly Google is saying, oh, no, that product doesn't exist anymore. Oh, that page doesn't exist anymore. Oh, that's gone. Sometimes they become redirection errors if those links are used in blog posts or social media posts. Other times, well, the website just displays a page. Sorry, that car is no longer here. So what can dealers do about increasing their organic reach, the authority of their website? And it's nothing new, except it's an important reminder. Dealers need to build static content on their website. I looked at a Toyota dealer, and this represents what I would consider a standard Toyota dealer. They had about 218 vehicles in stock. They had less than 15 static pages. So they had about 95% of all of their index pages in the sitemap.xml file were all for inventory. Yep, there was a couple pages for, hours and directions and the service scheduler and, a Toyota Care warranty. But the majority of the pages in the sitemap were pages that are intentionally designed to expire when the car sells. Now compare that to another Toyota dealer, Wilsonville Toyota. Paul Schnell is a friend of mine, and he is a student of digital marketing. He's a smart guy. When I look at his Dealer Inspire website, some things are quite different than the average dealer in the United States. According to the sitemaps, and it's really nice that Dealer Inspire breaks out the sitemaps by category, there were 583 cars in stock in their sitemap. But that's not where it left off. There were 42 blog posts in the blog sitemap. There were 81 pages for staff members at the dealership. There were 14 pages for fixed ops, 11 pages for special offers, and there was over 500 entries in the video sitemap. Here's a dealer who has over 100 static pages of content that adds search visibility and domain authority. Ladies and gentlemen, watching or listening to today's podcast, it's very important that you understand that your dealership website is a turnstile of content. The majority of your pages, by default, out of the box from your website company, just don't have enough content for Google to consider worthy of a page one placement. Yet, isn't it funny if I went to a service director and said, hey, what are the top 20 services that you offer? He'd probably be able to go right into the DMS and list them by sales volume. Why don't we have a page for our top 20 services that consumers in the local market subscribe to? What about the top 10 or 20 questions that come in the service department? Don't you think those would be great evergreen pages for a dealership website? How about the finance department. If I went to the F&I director and say, what are the top 10 questions that consumers ask in the F&I office? Or how about the products that you're offering in the F&I office? Shouldn't they have a page on your website as well? And what about common sense questions? If you interviewed a room full of salespeople, it wouldn't take long for them to come up with a top 20 list of questions that consumers ask about the cars that you sell. Why don't we have helpful content that's evergreen on dealership websites? Ladies and gentlemen, I've built my business on content publishing, so I can speak from experience that I run into dealers who eventually come into the business as a customer, and they say, man, I've been reading your information for a long time. As soon as I had something that I thought was a good fit for you, well, that's why I'm calling. Meaning consumers are shopping for vehicles. They have questions. The reason why they call you oftentimes is because they can't find anything online that answers their questions. Imagine if you're the dealer in the local market that has the content that is well written, that is structured properly, and Google provides placement on Google page 1. What does that do to the perception of the consumer who's trying to decide where they buy a car? So, if you want to see how little content you have on your website, it's very simple. Just go to your website's homepage and type in /sitemap.xml. So in the case of Wilsonville Toyota, if you go to www.wilsonvilletoyota.com and then /sitemap.xml, and that pretty much works on all websites in the U.S., you will see your sitemap. And in the case of Dealer Inspire, they use a really nice Yoast plugin, which breaks up the sitemap into different categories. Others, you'll see a list of pages. Go ahead and import that in a Word document, meaning just go ahead and copy and paste that, and then highlight the number of pages that are non-inventory related, meaning that they're not an SRP or a VDP. For most of you, I think the reality will come very clearly and quickly that honestly, you don't have evergreen content that's building month after month to establish your authority in the local market for all the things that you service and sell. Tires, batteries, brakes, gap insurance, windshield protection, tire and rim protection. Ladies and gentlemen, isn't it time that we leverage, listen to me, our most engaged channel? That's organic traffic. There isn't a dealer I have analyzed that bucks this trend. Organic traffic to the dealer's website is the highest converting and the most engaged. And think about that. Of course, branding, radio, TV, print, years in the marketplace force people to type in Brandon Honda or Pohanka Acura. I get it. And that comes in as organic. I understand it. But there's a lot of traffic generated on geo terms like Miami Toyota dealer or Miami Toyota service or Toyota tire prices. Why don't we want to capture more of the non-branded terms that can bring an engaged organic shopper? So you need to get content, and most dealers don't have content writers on staff. So don't be afraid to ask for help. You could reach out to me by emailing brian@pcgcompanies.com. There's a number of solutions that can help you with building great content for your website. But please understand, every month there's such a high rotation of your vehicle pages. They don't stay long in Google search. So you need to start building evergreen content so you become the powerhouse in your local market and stop your website being a broken carousel of content that's just never gaining enough traction to stand up against the bigger third-party websites which have ample content that's been well formatted for Google search.